happening, everybody? Yes, I'm back. I know you were thinking I'm done seeing that dude's face for a while. Has it been long enough? Nobody's quite sure. So this is MEA 425, Media, Copyright, and Licensing. Um, just a warning up front, this class is not going to be for the faint of heart. It is an online class, and so it will be streamlined. I like to operate in an efficient way, which means, you're not wasting time. But it's, this is law plus the weirdness of the music business, kind of all wrapped into one. There's fair amount of history into it, case law, copyright law. So this is not an easy class. It's not an easy topic. And so I'm trying to do it, justice, of course. I'm not teaching it like at a graduate level or anything like that, but just be prepared to set aside perhaps a little bit extra time to take care of what you need to in this class. So we'll start with this delightful textbook. So music publishing. Is that backwards? There you go. It's a lot better. It looks like this. It's by a guy by the name of Winogradsky. I think I misspelled his name on the site, but Steve Winogradsky. Music Publishing, The Complete Guide, 2nd edition. You will need that, and there are extra reading kind of resources that I've got on the website that I'll show you here shortly. So make sure you've got that. I put in the order for the textbook. If, shoot for the 2nd edition. We'll just put it that way. Let's take a peek at the syllabus. It looks like I've done that crazy color coding thing again on the calendar. So we'll get to the calendar at the end. So this is an online class, so we don't have a strict meeting time, as it were. If you need me, I can meet virtually or in person. Tuesday, Thursdays, 11 to 12:30 typically is good for me if you need to meet face-to-face, but we'll just work that out. So email me first, and then we'll see what's going on. What's going on here in terms of what we're covering in the course is looking at how you turn intellectual property into a revenue form through what is essentially a rental agreement. So instead of selling, your intellectual property to somebody, you are allowing them access to it temporarily, and that access can either be exclusive or non-exclusive. But the rental in the music business of intellectual property is called licensing. And you can't understand licensing without understanding copyright, and you can't understand the meaning of, ownership of intellectual property in the music business without sort of engaging it in the situation of who the main players are. So we'll look at, not just the music publisher, but what it means for music management, for record labels, for anybody who uses music from like TV and film, print music publishers, concert promoters and producers, anywhere where a copy of music, either, in its written form or its recorded form, can kind of show up as part of promotional or commercial use in some kind. So that's kind of the big picture of what we're going to be looking at. I'll want you to be able to, understand what a publisher does, be able to get your way through a license and understand the words and, how it's set up. So be able to actually interpret a license. They are written by lawyers, usually for lawyers. And so they have their own language called legalese, which is, usually involves a lot of $15 to $20 vocabulary words in there. And so it's a good time to put on your thinking cap. We'll be able to identify, people that work in the licensing arena explain their objectives. Look at the impact of specific laws on practice and what industry standards are and things like that. So that's sort of an overview to what we're up to here. My grading is now a cumulative style. So instead of, you get 100% maximum on 50 different, assignments, and then I take the average of all those. I don't like doing that anymore. So now everything that you do in the class that has a grade ends up gradually adding up to 100 points. And so it's a cumulative points system as opposed to an average system. So we'll talk more about grading in a little bit. Everybody will have 3 different presentations in the class at the very beginning. If you've had a class with me before, that I like to get everyone used to taking videos of themselves and uploading those to a class YouTube channel. And so there's an initial presentation, which is basically like an introduction, stand up and tell us what you did over, holiday break, would be the elementary school or high school version. But this is, what do you intend to do? What are your interests in the, multimedia industry or the creative industries? Classes that you've liked or perhaps didn't like, how you intend to use this class, what you hope to get out of it. Really, it's good to see everybody for sure. It's also really important that everyone figures out how to go through this step of uploading videos, making videos. The second one presentation will be a group presentation, and that's why I sent out the email or gave you the list of not classes, but subject areas that you get to pick what you want to get more into. So, pick your top 3 out of these 20 different topics that we'll cover. And then at the end of the class, there'll be a final presentation that's yours and yours alone. It's not a group presentation, but it will also, be the same process of the video, a little bit longer, more in depth, and kind of allowing you to explore what you think will be important for you to know, or is just flat out interesting to you as a result of what you've learned in the class or what you're bringing into the class. And then there's what we call boilerplate language here. These are university policies that sort of, professors are encouraged to put into their syllabi in terms of if you're struggling with, mental well-being all the way down to reading, oral presentations, writing, there's university has resources to assist students in that respect. Okay. And so now back to this is where the action is, right? This is the course calendar is the indication of what the course, like an obstacle course or, a running course, where we're going to go. This is the map. So the first thing we'll notice is that, hey, there are colors on here. What's going on? So anything in yellow is going to be an assignment. And the assignments have Canvas assignment links to them. We'll go to the Canvas page next. The green sections here are those are group presentations. And so you'll see that there are 20 different group presentations. We've got about 40 in the class, so set up for 2. We may have one with a little more, one with a little less. We will see about that, or one with 3, I guess. And then in the purple or highlighted hot pink, you'll see that there are tests. So there are 4 sections to the class. We'll sort of figure out what's going on in the class in the introduction, where we are now. And then you'll need to have, brush up on copyright. It's unlikely that you've made it this far without being introduced to copyright, but to make it to have a chance at understanding licensing, you absolutely, copyright is the foundation, the legal foundation of licensing. And so we're going to spend the first 1, 2, 3 weeks on copyright. So, let's go a week into the future here. You'll see that you've got an assignment on Canvas, which is the copyright timeline. We can take a look at that. And then there will be 2 presentations on that week. One on the history of copyright and one on why have it, why register, how to register, when to register. And those all come from Winogradsky Chapter 1. And so that is week 1 right there. And the presentations will begin on week 2. So you'll have the opportunity to rank what you're actually interested in. And then those who want to know about copyright will be able to register or present on that topic. The directions for that are on the Canvas page. We'll look at that in just a second. So you can see that we've got the assigned reading. There are 2 different books you can see. One of them we don't use very much. And so I'm able to follow the 10% rule and scan 10% of the text and share that with you without requiring you to purchase a book. And so that is the Cone book, which is about 1,700 pages. It's the Bible of music licensing. So we're just going to look at less than 170 pages of that. Let's see. And then at the end of every section, we'll have a test. The test will be on Thursdays or Fridays at the end of the week. We'll talk about that more in a second. And if necessary, or I'll provide you with a, there'll be 20 questions for half a point each. So all the tests are 10 points each total. And you'll have a study guide earlier in the week by Tuesday. And so that's, how this is all set up. At the end of the semester, I'll make some concluding remarks, and then you all will have the opportunity to upload your final video presentations. And then we'll take the last test during the exam period. But unless the class is bombing everything, it'll just be the section test. It won't be a cumulative final. Okay, so the weekly rhythm here. Once we get past this introduction, half of a week, we're going to fall into a rhythm in terms of what's due and when. And so the rhythm is that on Mondays will be these student presentations are due. So we don't have one until the second full week of class. So the beginning of February, those will start. Then on Tuesday, right after that, my presentations, will be uploaded onto the class YouTube site, and I will send out a link to those when they're up. And then on Wednesday, any of the yellow stuff is the Canvas. Unless otherwise indicated, like this one I think is due Friday or Saturday. It's due this weekend, the introductory video. But once we fall into the rhythm, these will be due Wednesday. These will be due, presentations will be due Monday. And then my presentations to you guys will be on Tuesday. And I'll also distribute any study guides at that time. And then the test will be at the end of the week, or the Thursday or Friday, depending. Okay, now about these weekly presentations. In fact, let's just go over and look at the Canvas site. So this is your view. This is the student view. Isn't it wonderful? So when you go to uploading the student videos, those of you who have had classes with me before know that, how I like to do this. But if you don't, I went ahead and created a how-to video on this, following these directions, which is to make a short video of yourself like I am now. Basically, I'm using this as FaceTime, and I just scooted it off to the side so that you don't see all that stuff. And then I can put a PowerPoint or, a browser or whatever there. And then I use QuickTime to do a screen recording. And then that's how I make a video. And so follow these steps to turn that video to learn how to upload that to our class playlists. Every week has a different playlist on the class YouTube channel. Yeah, so here they all are. Week 10, samples and audio. Week 10, adaptation of existing licenses, etc., etc. So the way that you get from you recording your own video to being able to save it to one of these buckets, right? A playlist for every week, is that you have to use a collaborator link. And so I embed them and there's a different link for every week. And so when you go back to the class, you'll see that the collaborator link for week 1 is right here. Collaborator link for week 2 is there. And so part of the reason for doing this, introduce yourself, these student introduction videos, is that you learn this process, steps 1 through 10 here, because you're going to have to do it at least 2 more times during the semester, and the final presentation is weighted more, significantly. And so you'll want to make sure that you don't mess this up. So because everybody, tends to have questions or needs a refresher on how to do this, I made a video about, hey, watch me, create a video or post a video to the class channel playlist using the collaborator link. So there is an informational video here for you. Okay, so let's look at one of these weekly assignments here. Okay, I think that you'll have to see this actually through my view. So let me see. I don't even know. Oh, there it is. Leave student view. Okay, I'm going to go back to the professor view, and you can see that these, starting these presentations here are not yet published because I haven't gotten all of the, your rankings in. So once you rank something, a topic, I give you 20 topics, pick your top 3, give them to me in order, and I'll try to give everybody something in their top 3. You might want to give me 4 or 5 if you're just seeing this now. Because there may be a run on certain topics, but let's click on one of these and just look at how I've got it set up. So, once again, it'll be a group presentation. You and your partner will get together and delegate, who's going to do what part of the topic. It's for you to investigate and decide how you want to do it. I'm just kind of putting it out there, and I give you, the resources. And then I give you, this one is about copyright duration. And so when you click on that, there should be, here it has downloaded. So the reading just came in down here, but it's something that you can, what you're responsible for, I guess, is in the assignment window. And then about for 4 minutes per student, so 7 to 9 minutes for 2 students, 10 to 12 or 12 to 13 minutes for 3 students. About the topic area and have fun with it. You can use clips of songs or video if you want, but they should probably be less than 10 seconds. And be prepared for you might want to have use like stills instead of motion pictures, for example, if you can get clips, just for the copyright strikes. Ironically enough, we're in a class about copyright. Note number 4 here, the end of your video, you must have what you consider to be the 2 most important questions that you covered. And then when you enable your comments, the rest of the class will have a chance to answer those questions. One student, 1 answer per student. And then the first one to get it right will get 1 point extra on top of the cumulative. So now you have the potential for 101 points. And we're doing this 10 weeks over the semester. So if the same student got, it's 1 answer per student per week, one correct answer, you could get a 90 in the class, and then you got all of these, you could get 100 in it. So it's enough to change your grade. So it's a built-in sort of extra credit thing. I encourage to get you guys into the used to using the comments. And then this is how I'm going to grade your presentation. So this is what I'm looking for. Okay, this is a maximum of 20 points. And like I said, I'll take half of that. So each presentation is 10 points. Okay, so that is that. So now let's go back to grading for 1 second so I can make sure everybody's on the same page about what counts for what. Okay, so everybody gets a chance to do one presentation, and that's 10 points, or one group presentation, and then also a final presentation, so that's 30 points. The tests are all 10 points each. We'll do 4 of those, so that's 40 points right there. And then the 6 Canvas assignments everybody will do or have the opportunity to do are 5 points each, so that's 30 points. So that's a 100-point total there. And the good thing about that is, it's easier on the math, but you guys can keep track of your grade easily as well, because we'll go back to the student view. And you can see that at the beginning of every section, maybe I didn't publish my sections. Yeah, I need to publish that. At the beginning of every section after section 1, so let's get down here to 5. Okay, here's the next section. You can see we're starting section on licensing. By this point, you have 30 points max, not including your group presentation. And so if you have 27 points, you'll know that you've got 27 out of 30 so far in the class, and you can keep track of your grade. Then you go down to the next section, is section 3, talking mostly about digital licensing. Here you have 45 points max, not including the group presentation. And then at the end of the class, section 4 is the conclusion. Here you would have 70 points max, and that does include the group presentation because there's no more group presentations after that point. It's just the final presentation for 20 points and the last test for 10 points, which would be 30 points on top of 70, which is your 100 points. So let's see how that looks over in the student view. And you can see that section 3 of the class, bridging the digital divide, max 45 points by this point. Okay. So that's basically how the class is set up to operate. This should answer all of your questions. You've got the syllabus is color coded. You know what the frequency, how often you're going to be doing stuff. You've got the 4 tests. This one is probably the fastest turnaround. A test, on April the 8th. And then you'll have basically a month between those two. So maybe it is about once every month you'll have a test. This one is March 19th. So every 3 to 4 weeks you'll have a test. So anyway, let me know if you've got any questions, and I look forward to the class. Thank you very much.